You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the welcome to the show. My name is Dave, and this is a Fistful Podcast, I guess, from FFOPradio.com. Back for another episode. So let's crack off into it, because you know how we like to do. As soon as we start off, I introduce the guests, and So here's the thing. In the last couple, I kept saying, look at the title. That'll tell you. And then I left the guest out of the title. So whoops. Let's just cut right to it. And, he is the namesake of our last studio. He is back on the show after a sizable hiatus. It's Dirty Randy back on the show. What's up, Randy?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me back.
Hey, man, there's always an open slot for a growing cast of characters. And yours, got a little dusty, a few cobwebs, but you're in it again.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Of course, Chris is in studio, of course.
I am here.
So, Randy, let's really jump into it, because I've got a topic that it needs to be dissected. So here's the thing. When a vampire bites a child, right?
Yeah.
And that child is then a vampire for the rest of eternity, essentially, until they are either killed by the sun or Van Helsing type character. Here's the thing. What is up with their brain? Because there's a movie out there. I just watched a review of it. I'll drop who it was. The Red Letter Media review of Before Dark, I think. But a bunch of movies have done this, so it's not just them. But this is what brought it to mind: is when a kid, I think what's that Anne Rice movie, Interview with the Vampire? I think this happens there too. But
yeah, I actually just watched that movie like last week.
Okay, good. Then you'll have a great frame of reference here. So, you know how kids are incredibly stupid and their brains are still developing up until their 20s?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So here's the thing. I guess all my questions are biological in nature. So if a kid gets bit and they're a vampire at, let's say, between 10 and 15, are they just going to be completely off the wall and like basket cases because they're frozen at that biological age now?
Yeah, I mean, probably, right? But they could still mature with time. Not every 13-year-old's the same.
Right, but keep in mind that it's not just a matter of they're mature for their age. It's a physical structure in your head, your brain, that does not finish growing until... way beyond when these kids are getting bit.
Yeah, I mean, it won't finish growing, but I feel like it'd still develop.
But how, man? It's not like they can get any bigger. It's not like there's...
No. Just their experiences.
Right, but it's still, you're going to have a prepubescent limbic system. You're going to have prepubescent levels of hormones in your system. So I would like to see a movie where you got a 500-year-old, 12-year-old essentially who still acts like a little asshole. But that's going to be shitty storytelling, I think. So that's why it hasn't been done.
Yeah, I guess I could agree with you. I think somebody could make it work, though.
Maybe, but then it would be like the shittiest movie and the shittiest character ever. Because if you were let's say you're watching Interview with a Vampire, any vampire movie where a kid has been changed and now they have lived beyond a normal lifespan.
Yeah, I mean, Kristen Dunst's character in that movie is, she's a royal brat.
Well, yeah, but that's also if she was royalty before, she was going to be a spoiled asshole no matter what.
True.
I'm thinking a regular kid getting switched over to a vampire, they're just going to be a pain in the ass for eternity, right?
So you have the Twilight movies where they have, I think it's the Illuminati or whatever they call it.
Yeah. The fucking vampire Illuminati. Well, here's the thing. I know we are going with this because you're going to bring up the fucking CGI baby Renesmee, right?
No, I wasn't, but that is terrible. Okay. But they're going around slaughtering vampire children, I'm pretty sure, at one point in that movie, because they don't grow, because they don't evolve. Their whole purpose is to just kill the vampire kids.
Right, but okay, so now you're bringing into the conversation mythology I am unfamiliar with. However, based on reviews, I know that all of the Illuminati vampires want to kill Sparkles and Kirsten's kid.
Yeah.
Because it will be, first of all, I guess it's never been done, so whoop-de-fuck. But on top of that, you're going to have a child that has zero ability to contain itself, and so it'll be a murder machine.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get like being born a vampire is one thing, but if you're like, that, it just seems like the shittiest. Also, here's the thing about vampires. I guess you can just choose who you kill and who you turn, right?
Yeah, that depends on the mythology, though, right?
I guess, and that's the shitty part about it, because like in all these vampire movies, like with zombies, let's say, zombies, boom, you're bit and you pop. Either you're eaten to the bone and you're just gonzo, or you're definitely going to be a zombie. With vampires, like, you can either, depending on the mythology, it can be as simple as you get bit, and as long as you're not drained completely, you change. Or there's like chicken blood and herbs, and the moon gets involved. There's all kinds of fucking goofy shit. Or like you have to drink somebody else's blood before the next moon. So here's the thing. I guess I'm barking up a tree that has no limbs. Because if we were living in a world where like vampire mythology had, I guess, continuity, then I could be like, hey, what's up with the kid's brain? But now, like, yeah, you're right. Because like, let's say you take the vampires from Dusk Till Dawn versus how they appear in, pick your Twilight movie. They change even within the Twilight movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember how they changed in the Twilight movies.
I mean, who cares? Everyone was either like, the people who watched those movies were either like the ladies who were so sexually repressed that this is the wildest they can get, and or their poor Mormon husbands who got drugged to the movie theater because they couldn't think of a good excuse.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I was forced to watch them, so.
Yeah, I thank God nobody was here to force me, and if they were, I would have said no anyway. But, because like the two big ones, if you want to say, well, maybe there was one that sticks with reality, The Lost Boys.
Yeah, I was just thinking about The Lost Boys when you, yeah.
But they're all like teenagers, so they're just automatically going to be dicks no matter what. So it's not like...
I've never seen that movie.
What?
That's good.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I saw
So many people have seen so few movies, me especially, but I don't know. Let me ask you this. Are you a fan of that 80s over-the-top, like, quote-unquote real horror a la The Monster Squad and that sort of ilk?
I'm not big on horror movies. I'm slowly trying to, like, add it into my movies watching, but I haven't really seen a ton of horror movies. Is
it just because like it's not your bag, or were you like me and just too scared?
Well, I watched Chucky when I was like 2 or 3, and that was kind of the end of my horror movie career.
Yeah, I feel like you have to be, the window to get grabbed by horror is very short. It's between the ages of 12 and let's go 10 and 16. If you are not forced into horror and scared off it like you were and I was, if it hits you in that sweet spot, it grabs you by the balls. But I, like you were probably forced to watch Child's Play. I imagine you as a 3-year-old were not like, yeah, let's watch
not my choice.
A satanic doll. Yeah. So when my cousins older than me probably hit the horror at the right time, but since I'm younger than them, they shunted it to me, and I was like, this is fucked. I hated it. It was too scary. All the I remember one time, speaking of Child's Play, it's germane. Child's Play was on at my cousin's house, and I don't know where the fuck they were, because it was just me under a blanket in their living room with one eye peering at the TV. And I was doing it to prove that I could. And I hated every fucking second of it. And then my uncle walks through the room, probably drunk, And he goes, what's going on here? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's just a movie. And he's like, oh, well. And he floated off. But I was like, please don't leave. I was so, even though he was completely checked out in me and in the movie in general, I was like, please don't leave, Uncle Dan, because like.
Please protect me.
Yeah. You know, don't get me wrong. The blanket and the several dozen dogs my aunt had were able to keep guard. But yeah, if you don't have the, and maybe this leads into the vampire thing too. If you get bit by the horror bug too early, then the rest of your life is fucked unless you take steps to like fix it.
Well,
I feel like that's. Well, go ahead, Krista.
I think my first like horror movie, I was probably in college. Because my parents didn't watch any horror crap, and none of my friends that I remember did, and I think it was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something, and that turned me off completely because it was disgusting.
Well, it happened outside the window.
Well, that too, yeah.
If you're out of that 10 to 15, because like, and you know, whatever, sexist roles and misogyny be what they will. Let's say by and large, horror doesn't grab the female audience. So that also throws a monkey wrench into things too. But for most of the horror audience, you are either that person who was grabbed within the right window, or you're someone who has overcome a monumental journey of self-discovery. Because, again, I was still not ready when my cousins showed me Day of the Dead. And even though, like, now as an adult, like, all the special effects are awful. Like, when the dude's head blows up, it's obviously a mannequin head. But at the time, I was like, this is fucked, and I never want to come back.
I don't think I've seen that movie either. Isn't that one, like, super washed out colors? Or
it's
is that
a little
different one?
That's, so the first one is black and white.
Wow.
But
Okay.
seeing as how the, like, Day and Dawn were both 70s era, they are a little desaturated. They're a little not as poppy, but also they're horror movies, so it's going to be a little less. The only thing that really stands out when they went to color with like Dawn and Day is the blood they used was like straight up neon fucking highlighter refill liquid. Like the zombies are all just like sort of beige or gray or a little bit of blue here or there, but their blood is still like fucking radioactive Kool-Aid.
Jeez.
But that's it. Like, maybe the perfect movie to introduce to someone who hasn't been scarred yet or is beyond the window, not before, beyond. You have to be older because you're still going to tragically horrify a child under 10. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to get someone into horror, show them, I think it is Day, the one that takes place in the mall, Day of the Dead.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. That's the Romero one, right?
Yeah, all of them are Romero.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, so Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead, all Romero. John, the other one, the shitty one, after they split, he kept Of the Living portion of the title and went on to make Return of the Living Dead, which, if you're going to hold it up to what was set by the Dawn of, Day of, whatever trilogy, total dog shit. But if you look at it as its own thing and realize that What's His Nuts, the other John, was a total hack, and that the people who made this movie just bought the script for the name, it's totally fine.
All right, it's a good standalone.
I was like, because here's the thing, I was upset as a child watching that because I had been slowly and forcefully fed, a steady diet of the slow, shambling, eat everybody and everything zombies. So when Night of the Living Dead popped and I saw it, I was like, oh, what the fuck? Number one, the zombies are fast. Number two, they talk. Number three, they eat brains alone. And I was like, oh no. And it's more of a grunge, not grunge, but like grindhouse movie than an actual horror movie. Yeah.
Can I point out a gripe I've had with zombie movies my entire life?
Hey, you're sitting near, or maybe not near, but you're talking to the right person.
All right. So, as far as I've always understood it, is that the only way to kill a zombie is to destroy the brain.
Bingo.
But zombies only want to eat the brain. So that would be a self-defeating
Well,
monster.
here's the thing. You're conflating two mythologies, my friend. What we just went over, you've taken slices of both, put them together, and one is a cake and one is a pie, and you go, these don't fit. Yes, you are correct. Because the brain-eating type of zombies, if you want to get into whatever, in Return of the Living Dead, they are completely indestructible. Like, the first zombie they come into contact with was like a medical specimen, yada, yada, yada. Chemicals come into the air, and after the tar man, the first one is just a screaming naked dude. And it's three guys who work in this morgue or this medical specimen warehouse or whatever, trying to take care of this now screaming undead man. And they say exactly what you say. They say, well, in the movies, the brain. So the thing they do is they grab a nice pickaxe, they ram that thing through the back of the zombie's head, and would you believe it does not work?
But why?
That's the thing. No fucking clue. Because they discuss it in the movie, the three of them, the two of them holding him down, and the one who put the pickaxe through the zombie's head, they go, well, you're supposed to hit the brain, and you cut to the thing, and it's fucking through the center of the dude's head. He's like, I did hit the fucking brain! And so we go, well, what the fuck? But cut later in the movie, we get half of top of a lady, her torso with a little spine flipping around, and they get a little kind of impromptu interview with her, and they go, hey, what's up with eating all the brains? And she goes, oh, it hurts. Living was okay, dying sucks, and to take away the pain, you need to eat brains. Now, you're never going to get that out of a Romero zombie because they don't talk. They are brain dead, essentially.
Yeah.
So, in our Return of the Living Dead, it is a chemical made by the government, released by idiots via an incinerator. And you eventually have to nuke the planet because it's very stark at the end. With the Romero zombies, shoot them in the head, stick a spike in their head, or hit them with a bat, whatever. As long as you get them right in the brain pan, boom, they're out.
Jesus.
So that's the thing. We have our Montagues and Capulets of the zombie genre, and then whatever the weird little inbred siblings and offspring of like the 28 Days Later and everything that. Everything from that to like Maggie, let's say, as far as zombie movies are concerned. So I don't know. The brain thing never.
That was always one that kind of bothered me about their lineage, I guess.
Yeah, the brain thing doesn't make any fucking sense, right?
This has always been, you got to break the head, destroy the brain, and then was all they munch on his brains.
Right. Because here's the thing that also, this brings up a retro gripe of my own, is like the brain-eating zombies. Number one, they don't make any sense because there's tons of meat available. But number two, if you're going to make a living dead thing that has to eat something in a human, why would you pick the thing exclusively shrouded in really tough bone?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's much easier getting to the ribs.
Yeah, you're literally covered in meat. But all the brain-eating zombies have to crack through that skull. But that's the thing. In the universe of the brain-eating zombies, most people's skulls put up less resistance than an eggshell.
Yeah.
First casualty of Return of the Living Dead, when the tar man pops out of his little barrel and they go, oh, fuck. And I think the character's name is Suicide, the leader of the punks, comes down to fuck up this zombie. First thing he does is, grab his head and bite into it like a fresh apple.
Maybe their teeth get harder when they become zombies.
Dude's skull spent, I don't know, I guess all the calcium in maybe Suicide's body went to every other bone. Or perhaps when the tar man was hanging out in that government barrel, everything decayed but his teeth. I don't know. That's the thing. It was a shitty movie.
Do you remember that show Deadliest Warrior?
Yeah, of course. We had a whole bit on the old show about it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
We called the world's deadliest dude.
They did one thing where they were trying to keep the show running for a little while, and they did like supernatural episode, and they did zombies versus vampires, and
this just seems like pretty stupid.
Yeah,
because
it's stupid.
It's like, well, you've got essentially a superhero, supervillain that can only come out at night versus a walking corpse, and they were like, yeah, let's see who wins.
Well, they did like 3 vampires versus like the endless horde. Like how many zombies 3 vampires could take out over time.
Well, if we're gonna like open it up to that, why not have like one chow, like one of those big fluffy dogs, like one chow versus 10 million water bears, right? Like one dog versus 10 million tardigrades. Like what the fuck are we doing here?
They just kind of did the math for how long the vampires would hold out, but
yeah, because what else can you do?
Yeah, they were going back to the why they could bite the head like a fresh apple. Because they talk about how like the body's inhibitors on limiting the muscle mass or your ability to use your muscles that your brain artificially puts on your body. So you don't damage yourself, is that zombies wouldn't have that because they're not going to have the inhibition to stop them from using full power. But even then, I don't think you're cracking the skull like an apple.
Yeah, here's the problem with physics is it doesn't matter how many safeguards there are to keep your muscles from making you bite as hard as you can. The problem is the physical structure of your teeth and bones, bitch. Like, why wouldn't, like, of course, like, yeah, okay, I get that under certain circumstances, like, well, you know, the old thing that everybody calls back to is like the mom lifting a car to get it off of her kid because
hysterical strength.
Yeah. This is essentially in that same vein where it's not necessarily hysterical strength that's unlocking your full potential. It's just like you don't know any better.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is.
But let's take a couple factors into what we're going on here. So I will grant you that whatever fail-safes were keeping those muscles in check, boom, gonzo.
Oh, I don't want to be granted anything. It's just a thought.
Well, no, I mean, I'll grant you that because it's probably, I mean, if not real, it's logistically viable.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Zombies are dead, so their muscles are decaying. Their bones are decaying. Their fucking teeth, everything that they are is slowly rotting away. So unless they like somehow stumble upon a freshly zombified Jack LaLanne before he died for real, and he's still got all of his muscles, all of his bone strength, then sure, I would say maybe. But you've got a skull, and not for nothing. Have you ever gone to, let's say, an amusement park or a candy shop and bought a giant jawbreaker like the size of your fist?
Yeah.
Like, you can't get your mouth around that fucking thing. Imagine it like 8 pounds, the size of a human head, let's say. How are you getting a grip on that with your teeth?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. You're not a snake, you can't unhinge your jaw.
Yeah. Like, let's say alternate reality where we've got jaws that work like a Carnotaurus, right? Like, where instead of bite force, we're using our heads like battle axes and cleaving flesh off of things. Sure, I'd buy that. Sadly, we live in reality where, almost all of our attack capability comes from a very small mandible. And an even small, not even smaller, but equally as small maxilla. So when your mouth opens up, unless you've like straight up cut your cheeks and you can let your mandible like flop down to your fucking neck, you're not getting clearance for a head.
No.
A nose, sure. An ear, I'll give it to you. Hair, yeah, knock yourself out. But you're not getting anywhere near that skull.
No.
Like, imagine just trying to bite the flat side of a coffee mug. It ain't happening, bitch. Like, and not only that, like, imagine, let's say, okay, the only thing keeping us from biting into one another's heads is our brain telling us that our muscles shouldn't pump that hard. Then evolution failed. If we have a skull that another human can bite through, we're fucked.
That's true.
Like, that would mean that, like, a hard rain would kill most people. Hail would be a fucking massacre. I mean, so yeah, of course. Yeah, but that's the thing. With like the vampires and everything, we've got this lore where, hey, guess what? In this universe, like let's take Resident Evil, the movies, for instance. Like that disease or virus or whatever, the impetus, could just as easily make you a pile of goo with the inertness of like a bowl of jelly, or it could turn you into a fucking super monster, like not necessarily kick it up into like liquor or tyrant, but there are some just regs ass zombies in Resident Evil who are like fucking marathon runners.
Yeah.
Like when they're in Vegas driving across the thing, it's like everybody, like all the zombies that are left are like everybody who was like Usain Bolt and his friends. Like they're all just super strong, super fast killing machines. And like we had that already. Zombies were a thing that like I say, because they're not anymore, but they were a thing that was like scary because they disarm you because they're familiar, but they're slow, and so you get overwhelmed by numbers.
Yeah.
We had fast, like, again, your vampire, a werewolf, fast, Frankenstein's monster, not smart, but strong and relatively fast. But all of our ghouls had speed on their side, and zombies came along and are like, no, we're doing it the other way, bitch.
Yeah, we're shambling.
But that wasn't good enough for some motherfuckers. They're like, no, these need to be fast too. Why?
Yeah. I watched a movie last night, actually. I think it was called Alone. And it's basically like a zombie outbreak happens and some dude's stuck in his apartment. Not a very good movie. But,
zombies have become a way to cash a movie check. I've seen it done a million times horribly, and very few times do I see someone take it and turn it on its ear or smack it on its ass and make it do something interesting.
Oh, this zombie was doing like parkour, like climbing up a balcony on a building, and it's like, this doesn't make any sense.
There was, and I can't remember the name of this movie, so sorry about it, but there was a movie I saw a long time ago where it was, I think it was a New Zealand picture, and their unique selling point was that all of the gas on planet Earth just stopped working. In addition, coincidentally, to a zombie uprising.
Oh.
So it kind of made me feel like, oh, this is going to suck. Because we got this poor dude. All of it, like he drops a match into all like this gas he has in like his fuel tank of his truck. He's like, nope, no gas works. And then, also zombies. But like the insane thing that is obviously believable, because we're in a world where zombies exist, is that out of the zombie's mouth, they are constantly burping highly flammable and explosive gas. So it quickly becomes what seems like it's going to be another shit-heeled dude stuck without resources in a place where time is ticking. And then, bam! Like by the end of the movie, he's got a little Toyota pickup with a fucking bamboo cage on the back with 6 zombies all wearing respirators powering his truck as he drives down the road.
He's farming zombies.
Yeah. And it's like, what? And who would have thought of that? And like the way that it comes up is relatively organic. It feels, within the confines of a movie where zombies exist, it feels real. Because if you're clever and, it's early on in the zombie uprising where it's not 1 against a million, it's still 1 against maybe a dozen or so.
Yeah.
You could find a strong buddy or a couple strong buddies and be like, hey, guess what? I found out these guys are constantly burping shit that we can put in our cars. Hold this dude down and I'll ring him up with the mask. It's obvious.
I could see somebody doing that, like in today's world, if it really came to it.
Yeah. And it was so refreshing. But that's the thing. You have to wade through just an ocean of shit. Metaphorically speaking, we've got 2 docks, right? Stretching out in this ocean of shit. You got a very strong, very sturdy, very competently built dock that is the trilogy night, dawn, day. Boom. Nice dock. park your boat there. Don't worry about it. Storm's coming. It will fucking last. And then you've got this rickety sort of homemade by a dude who didn't know what the fuck he was doing sort of thing. That is John, I think his name is Russo. John Russo's Night of the Living Dead, which introduced the brain and the fast and the yada yada. The moral of the story is each one goes the same place, the ocean of shit. And you're going to have to really dog paddle through a lot of turds to find those ones that aren't even necessarily on the surface that are good. And so, but that's what happened. We lost, people stopped wanting to jump in that shit ocean.
I don't think.
So where do you, go ahead, Krista.
Train to Busan, I don't think that one was that bad.
No, but it's one of a billion.
Yes.
I'm not going to say it was bad because, I mean, we did a review on it, so obviously my thoughts are my own. But the thing that killed that movie was its adherence to all the cliches that should have died.
Right.
So where do you stand on The Walking Dead?
Oh, man, when it was a comic book, I really enjoyed it. The first couple of seasons were going good, and then it was just like, I don't know.
I mean, those are kind of your classic horde shambling zombies.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Once you get beyond the genre or the flavor of zombie that you've got, and that's all well and good and established, they are no longer characters. They are whatever. They're just an element of the movie. So now we are focusing on our non-turned humans. And after a while, you just get fucking tired of everybody ending up hating each other irrationally.
Yeah.
Because, let's be real, there's a lot of people in this world I could go the rest of my life without seeing. However, if it was me and only them left on the side of not either eating brains or straight up just murdering people and eating their entire body, we'd probably get pretty close.
Yeah, probably get along just fine.
Because that's the other thing I hate about all these zombie movies too, is like nobody has any foresight, or the ones that do have foresight are massively outnumbered by the people who are like, oh no, I need a whatever thing that nobody produces anymore and I'm willing to kill to get it. What? I don't know. It just seems like the antithesis of the evidentiary based world we live in, about, you know, in regards to like how not only us but everybody else in the animal kingdom survive.
Yeah.
Like the reason everybody and everything is alive is because we all work together.
Yeah, we get along.
Even the animals that don't, or, you know, you could consider them solitary, they're still in a collaboration with the things they eat, with others of their species. They gotta fuck something and they gotta eat something.
Yeah, look at snow leopards.
Yeah.
Like,
so why is it that as soon as like infrastructure is gone, blah, 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 where I feel we should automatically revert to like, boom, tribalism, gathering up, looking for resources, looking for talent, looking for this. There's always just like an unreasonable amount of like bikers in Day of the Dead, in whatever was happening in the prison with the Walking Dead shenanigans, in the fucking, bar none, there's no more logic.
It goes out the window.
Yeah, and I think that's because again, I'm gonna bring this up. Zombies and vampires, I feel like, are kissing cousins, right?
yeah.
Because a vampire can feed. I mean, they both feed off of humans, but the vampire can either feed enough to turn them or feed enough to kill them, and that can also happen with zombies. You get bit once, but make it out okay. Otherwise, boom, you're still a zombie.
Yep, you're fucked.
Or you can stay and wait until you're a screaming pile of cartilage and goo, and then you're gonzo no matter what. It's just that zombies are too stupid to limit, and vampires, they know that they cannot, like, there's no zombie smart enough to like stand up real quick and like tap everybody on the shoulder and be like, whoa, dudes. You realize if we eat everybody, we'll run out of food, right? They can't do that.
One bite. That's all we get. One bite, move on.
But even then, you're just creating another mouth to feed.
Yeah.
Right. They still don't eat themselves.
Yeah. So vampires,
They have restraint because they still have their mind.
yeah,
Vampires still have
that's
their
the
brain.
thing. It's like they're the same monster, but zombies are vampires with brain damage. Like if you were to take Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise from Interview with the Vampire and hit both of them in the head with a pipe wrench, they would go from being like aloof vampires and like, with the neck ruffles and everything to straight up like shambling zombies, except the problem would be, well, I guess they would be a lot weaker. That's the thing too.
Yeah, they can't go out in the day.
Yeah, so it's a system of checks and balances, and I think vampires came out on top because they've got all this lore, whereas zombies were like a modern day creation. You get your Frankensteins, your vampire, your Draculas, your fucking werewolves, your creatures from their black lagoons. All of these things have a huge and long pedigree. Whereas zombies popped, depending on when you want to put the pin in the timeline, with either Herbert West Reanimator or the modern day interpretation of like the Romero stuff. But regardless, they happen in the same century. Like if werewolves or vampires popped today, we would have chaos. Like if someone were to make up something, it would be fun. We would have what would happen with zombies. It would be a big boom, huge saturation. Everyone would go, wait, this doesn't actually make any sense. Because no one had the time to put anything that made sense in it. Vampires have checks and balances. We go, well, there's a religious aspect with the silver and the cross. There's, the sun got the whole thing. Werewolves, same sort of deal. We've got checks and balances. Zombies are like these unchecked morons.
Yeah, more or less. They're just, walking idiots just going in one direction.
And then it's just like, well, but then that's the thing too. You say, well, you don't watch the zombie movies for the zombies. You watch it for the human characters, but they're all shitheels. So what am I watching? Like, don't get me wrong. There are some that, because no story is new. They've all been told before. It's what is going to come down to will be the characters, the presentation, the setting that may dazzle the eye.
Yeah, we've all read Lord of the Flies.
Right. But nobody looks at the end of that rainbow to be like, yeah, after we've yoked out this concept in every slack and unlubricated hole, what we have left after we look back at the track record are a bunch of mediocre films, books, cartoons, zoetropes, podcasts, whatever, that all settle on the silt of that river that is basically just like, yeah, all humans just suck, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that, though.
But I'm going to give you the exception to the rule. Because I think Maggie probably sidesteps this.
The Arnold Schwarzenegger movie?
Yeah, so that is less of a zombie horde run for our lives type movie and is more of a character study, and just so happens that Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter is slowly turning into a zombie.
Yeah.
But then it breaks everything in that point, because the only zombie you see in the movie, by and large, aside from when she gets infected or whatever, is just his daughter. And you have to think, like, is it just, I don't know. I'm thinking on the fly, and I think I've figured out why everybody in a zombie apocalypse is a shitheel. Because of, I mentioned it earlier, zombies, since they are just dead family members, are very disarming.
Yeah.
So it would lead you down the path of, well, everybody who is a good Samaritan is immediately murdered. And so all we have left are
the shitty people.
Yeah, Tom Savini and his biker gang, let's say. But then that sucks. Tired of seeing all of these like shitheels. Like, okay, then show me that story, right? Show me a story where every character who is nice that we latch onto is ground in the mill, right? The ever-churning grind engine of these zombies.
Like the beginning of it, and not.
Yeah, I would love to see a movie that sort of lulls you into, oh, we're going to focus on a nice family. maybe someone in their family has changed, yada, yada, yada. And then, actually, we're all dead. And it's 50 minutes into the movie. And then maybe we follow one of them who got turned into another. So it's just like a domino effect of people, like a whole movie of the first 5 seconds of a zombie movie where they go, oh, hey, it's Phil. Ah!
Well,
Right.
But show me 90 minutes of a family gets eaten. Let's say one of the kids breaks out of the house and goes to a friend's house out of routine, and he's welcomed in with open arms and boop, 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 domino effect. Show me that.
I think you're right though that like the Good Samaritans would be the one that would kind of go.
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day that was something along the lines of like social glitches. And like the means to protect yourself. And
right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like you're trapped in a corner and somebody has a knife on you and like you have a gun and the option to save yourself, but it's like it's a 40-year-old man, it's a 15-year-old, boy, it's a 7-year-old girl, it's a pregnant woman.
So here we are.
Yeah. Like which ones make you freeze?
I think the zombie movies have it right. By and large, everybody falls.
Yeah.
That plow goes through that field and all but the weeds survive. Because if you are, and I think they probably even do this in some movie out there, but like if you are one of these dudes in the gang, like the ruffians or whatever, and one of your comrades gets bit, of course, you just turn and go blam and blast him in the head.
Yeah, fuck him.
Oh, yeah, we see it in the Resident Evil movies, like when, what's her name? Angry Rodriguez. Michelle Rodriguez gets bit, and they carry her ass around for fucking, 180 minutes of real time as she slowly turns into a zombie? Whereas, like, if you're one of the shitheels from the Mercenary Stars, you go, oh, he got bit, pop, 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 done.
Now the question is, though, Dave.
Sure.
Have you seen the Doom movie with Carl Urban and The Rock?
Oh, hell yeah. I saw that in theaters.
Like, you get bit, but you don't, or I can't remember if it's bit or infected with the needle or whatever, but it's, you change based on who you are as a person.
Right. So here's the thing. I don't know if do you want to call Doom a zombie movie?
I wouldn't call it a zombie movie, but I don't want to say it's that particular one. I don't think is that far from the vein.
No, you're right, but I think because with Doom we're working with
demons substance and aliens.
Yeah, well, and it's a substance from literal hell.
Yeah,
like Doom's mythology is they open a portal to hell. It may look all space age and futuristic and whatever. It's cosmic horror, but no, like canonically, it is the biblical Satan down at the 9th level hell.
Yeah.
So I get. If you want to blow, because back in the old days, you say, well, was that a curse or a hex? But if you're going to do Doom and it has to be science, you say, well, it's that's some agent from hell that turns you into a fucking weirdo. But yeah, I don't know. That is an interesting concept, though. I like when the MacGuffin that is spread out does interesting things to people.
Yeah, you're not just one kind.
Based on whatever, their personality or body type. Yeah. And oh, you know what? You bring up an interesting point because that crept into zombie culture. Look at Left 4 Dead. You go, hordes. But then you got the smoker, the spitter, the whatever. Like, we've got all these specialized, the boomer. We've got all these specialized zombies that don't really make sense in the world of zombies.
Yeah, they shouldn't exist.
Yeah. So what the fuck are we doing? But I think we can. Maybe it is video games that are at the. Because I would say, well, Doom did it, but Doom was based on a video game. Left 4 Dead did it. Yeah, so maybe that's it, and it just sort of soaked up into the movie side of things.
Yeah, you're gonna go where the money is, so it would make sense that studios would do something like that.
Here's my problem though. Like, as I get that humans are hardwired to love gimmicks, but they're also really good at pattern recognition. And it's always mind-boggling to me that I, standing at like whatever, the front car of this zombie train, can not only see the caboose in the distance, but I can imagine what the caboose looks like. And I go, this is going to get yoked out, and gimmick after gimmick after gimmick are going to be here to save it. But everybody, bar none in my life, acted as if zombies were like Dane Cook. They were going to be great forever. And now here we are, and I get to stand counted right twice, because now everybody's like, who, Dane Cook, what? He just, what? And the zombie thing is all but gone. Like, as far as like how big it was culturally.
I think that kind of thing will come back in waves.
Oh, totally. Like, we're never going to lose it. It's just we now have a beautiful, maybe brief respite. Yeah. Because it's
oversaturated and boring right now.
We're seeing this every day, but everybody's going like, oh, I can't believe it. Like, something happens, it gets popular, it gets yoked out, it dies. Then some, fresh face or whatever you want to say, someone who wants money, comes along and either kicks it up to 11 again and makes it crazier, or they bring it back to the foundation and reboot it, and everybody goes, oh yeah, this is what we were here for. When, if you have a memory, you go, no, this is only going to lead one more goddamn spot, and it's right back where we are. But that's life. So it's the same thing with the vampires, same thing with werewolves. You have the traditional, then you go new age and radical. It gets 80s-ified. Like, that's it. We had all of our gothic horror monster movies.
I mean, we haven't really had sexy zombies yet.
Yeah, well,
as far as I know.
There are movies out there. They're just not popular. Like,
yeah. I know, like, Warm Bodies is a romance zombie movie, but it's not like a sexy one.
No, I mean, I could drop some directors on you that you could go and have a field day with as far as that goes. But I beg you not to, because there's not point. There's no point. But that's just it. We have.
I meant to the effect of like Twilight and like the Teen Wolves and the Vampire Diaries shows. Like, there aren't sexy zombies on CW. Well, actually, I think there was.
Yeah, if we're just going to talk about like fucking love stories with zombies, the Disney Channel had a essentially High School the Musical with zombies. So whatever you're thinking can't possibly exist. I'm sorry to tell you, it does.
I'm not saying it
already happened.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I don't think it's as popular.
Oh, no. It definitely is not. But that's the thing. Is like, you're not going to know how much juice is in this particular lemon, aka zombies, until everything has been squeezed, and those last few drops are going to be fucking awful. Because it's going to be mixed with your sweat. It's going to be mixed with everybody else's hands who's been on this particular lemon. And, let's be real. The juice coming out of that thing is not juice. It's the sweat and determination of you wringing out somebody else's yoked out asshole. But, whatever. Anyone who's been alive for more than, 15 minutes can pick up on this pattern. And if you see it and go, well, what? This sucks. Yeah, of course. But if you recognize that it's happened a billion times, you go, oh, okay. You just have to wait it out. Like werewolves. Let's stick with vampires. So Bela Lugosi, Dracula, nice gothic castle, smoke, children of the night, bats, wolves, garlic, etc. Very lockstep, like woo, blah. Then the 80s roll around, and it's like, you know what? This ain't your daddy's vampire. We get Before Dawn or whatever the fuck. From Dusk Till Dawn, you get Lost Boys, and everything is like, yeah, what if it was like real? And then we go, okay, we've had that for a while. Now we want to go back to it's swinging from a 10 to a 1. Yeah. You're everything done up with your Bela Lugosi and his medallion and the cape and the whole I don't drink wine. Like, that is atmosphere to a 10. It's like, boom, it's all completely fabricated. And it's just there for the sake of itself. When you swing that around to the 1, you've got the Lost Boys. And it's like, yeah, we're punk kids who don't give a fuck about your traditions, old man. We're not going to wear capes and slick our hair back. We're going to have mullets and, whatever, hang out in Santa Cruz. But, what's better and what's worse? They're the same. It's just anything establishment is just as anti-establishment as anything else.
Like you said, it swings from a 10 to a 1.
Yeah, whenever you can say, well, this is how we do things, and someone will come along and say, I want to do things the other way, and it works just as good.
Yeah.
It's just how long before the shine comes off of that turd that you've been polishing for so long. And, whatever, like I have not kept up with it, but I feel like it's dying down. But that resurgence of the 80s awesomeness, like with Stranger Things, with like Turbo Kid, there was like a bunch of, or even like that little short Kung Fury, The Expendables, that 80s action cheese over the top shit came back, and it came back big. Everybody saw it. I got an impacted ass full of it because I saw the end of that rainbow. And here we are. So whatever, like that's the thing, is like you go through periods of conservatism, and then you go through a radical phase, and they're both equally annoying on the ass end of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right that like the big action movies that aren't like superhero movies are kind of starting to die out.
Yeah, because there was this uncalled for and maybe even immaterial cry for reality in our fiction, in our fantasy. So we went from Dracula being this mysterious, maybe it's a curse, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Nobody fucking knows. Why do werewolves change? Because of the moon. Now shut up and watch. Some Weisenheimer or some smart kid was like, you know what? Science is a thing now. Maybe we should add that to horror and fantasy. And guess what that doesn't need? Horror doesn't need to be explained.
No.
It's scary because you don't know.
It just is.
Modern technology and science kills the unknown. The unknown is scary. The unknown is tantalizing. As soon as you take a fantasy adventure, as soon as you take a horror, as soon as you take an action movie and say, well, in real life, he would just get shot in the head and fall down and that. No, we don't want that. I want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger fire a missile carrying a terrorist that shoots through a building and hits another helicopter. I don't want to see like an old ass Bruce Willis be like, well, now his shoulder's knocked out of socket because he's 70 years old. And in the reality of the situation, he fell out. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Just let me have my stupid action movie where he's in a car accident and explodes and he's fine.
Or here's the thing. I think it would make it easier on all of us if both of these things could exist simultaneously. But it doesn't. It moves in a wave. And I guess it has to, because you cannot have ultra serious and ultra goofy happening at the same time with the same people.
Yeah, but it can be
it
for
just be
both audiences.
Right, but that's not... Yes, in a sane, logical world where people do things because they want to do them and not because of trends or money or whatever, yeah, we would have both. And to an extent, we do all the time.
Yeah.
It's just what rises in the public's eye. All these middle-of-the-road mush heads, these undecided voters, or the people who are, however you want to define the middle of America, who have no strong opinion one way or the other. They're the ones who fuck up art for us who are involved and interested in the art. Because you say, well, we got to pander. This isn't going to get seen by 1 million eyeballs. It's simply a good movie. We've got to add blah, 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 blah.
No, just have fun.
Yeah. Movies and their inception, were a novelty. Now it's like this cutthroat industry that is no longer about, on the big side anyway, there's still an indie market out there, but it is no longer about like telling a story that needs to be told or expressing a message or giving even somebody their own 90 minutes to express a crazy thought, right?
Yeah.
It's now like, well, let's take like the Avengers movie. Nobody in that, I shouldn't say nobody. There are probably people who are like, yay, whatever. But it just feels like everything in it and all the Marvel movies are workshopped and sanded and buffed and polished to the point where it's like, why am I watching this? If you're always sure that everything will work out, why are you doing the things you are doing? If I'm going to watch a movie, I want there to be the potential of things going completely sideways.
Yeah. of things not working
I want shit
out.
to get fucked up.
I want to feel empty after I watch the movie.
Well, not empty, just like real.
Yeah.
Like I grew up thinking, based on my viewing of cartoons and everything else, that no matter how shitty life got, at the last second, someone would pull your ass out of the fire, whether it was through ingenuity or money or techno gadgets or a good old-fashioned Deus Ex Machina. And that's not how life is.
So there's a show on Netflix that I think is adapted from like an older anime. It's called Devilman Crybaby. And it is... have you seen it?
No,
Okay.
but I'm familiar with Devil May Cry.
Not close. Not even closely related.
Well, then I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's Devilman Crybaby, and it's basically like demons start taking over Earth, and like some humans still have like their human side intact after they become a demon. And I don't know if you'd ever watch it, but I don't want to ruin anything for you. But
I probably won't, so go ahead.
all right. So the whole like lead up to the show is that like the main character is like a really powerful demon out of hell, and like his best friend actually is the devil.
Oh.
And they end up going to war on Earth to the main character is trying to save humanity, and the devil guy is trying to destroy it and just have the demons take over. And it ends with like one final charge, and the guy that is the devil wins. So the main character is dead, and they're like sitting there in a field. The main character is like cut in half, dead, and and like then you see these like lights up above, and it's like implied that that's God, and he destroys the entire Earth, and you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like this didn't work out.
That's another genre that is always sort of picked up as a free idea bucket, like mythology as far as like religion is concerned.
Yeah.
You got the Greeks and the Romans and the Egyptians. Yeah, as long as you got a pantheon of colorful characters. But here's the thing they always do. It's like with characters like that, you can do one of two things. And in the Marvel Universe, they do both. Like, let's take Thor, for instance. He is a Norse god.
Yeah.
In his canonical religion, you know, he is, or whatever, the Greeks and yada, yada, yada. They're always up doing their own thing and doing godlike things and moving the sun and making sure crops grow and shit like that. So when you've got these all-powerful deities, you got one of two things. We go, well, they're intact in their, you know, in situ on Olympus or wherever. And the MacGuffin is one of them wants to take over the whole shebang, a la Hades and Hercules, right?
Yeah.
Or, and the only other or there is they're just bored in heaven, Olympus, wherever, and they come down to Earth to dick around for a bit.
Yeah, they got nothing else to do.
That's it. Like, I would love to see a fucking movie that's like, oh, you know what? It's, what's his nuts? Let's say Phoebus. You know, he's like, I'm tired of pushing the sun. I want to be a skateboard champion. But no, it's always like, if it's going to be like these otherworldly creatures, and they do it with aliens too. If you're going to do something like that, it's always like they're going to pop themselves into an atomic age family, 2.5 kids, trying to yada, yada, yada. A la, shit, what was that Christopher Lloyd and Hulk Hogan movie?
Oh, boy.
Oh, God.
Shit. But it's the same MacGuffin. Like Christopher Lloyd, regular family, what's his nuts? Hulk Hogan comes to Earth because he's like an alien or some shit, and he just hangs out with the family. And I'm like, we've seen that. I've seen aliens, gods, monsters, fae, fairies, etc. Mermaids, even, if you've seen Splash. All these mythical creatures, given their druthers, they say, done with the mythical shit, I just want to be a regs-ass dude.
Yeah, I just want to be mundane and boring.
Yeah, nobody's like, I'm going to be a BMX champion. No one's like, I'm going to be the best stamp collector ever. It's always just like, yeah, what is it like to have a family? And, not that this needs to be brought up, but I'm going to do it anyway. All of these movies are set in quote-unquote current day, right?
Yeah.
So that just means that Zeus, Hades, Jupiter, the mermaid. All of these things have existed for umpteen zillion years, and it's only now they're like, you know what would be fun?
Yeah, where have they been? What have they been doing?
Yeah, let's crack down to Earth. I would love, and you can't do this, but I would love to pop back in time to like ancient Greek to read some contemporary fiction and see if those assholes were like, you know what if Artemis was like my mother-in-law? Whoa, it's a wacky, whatever. It had to have happened, right?
I mean, I feel like back then it probably would have been a bit more blasphemous to them to do that, though.
Nah, because like Zeus was always turning himself into animals and popping down to hang out with, like fucking, what's his name? Hercules is half god and is the product of, I believe, sexual assault. Yeah, and if he's not, there's enough people in that pantheon that are.
I feel like Zeus was pretty good at the sexual assault.
Yeah, that's basically all he did. And so that's why it's weird to me that like, because obviously he can do whatever he wants. He's a god. He comes down and he bangs earth women all the fucking time. But, for the movie's sake, we go, well, what if he wants to give up being, a fun guy doing whatever he wants all the time and saddle himself with all the shit that you hate to do on a regular day, average viewer? Well, that sounds shitty. Yeah.
Just watch him become depressed.
Yeah. Give me like an Earth Girls Are Easy, right? Where they're not even trying to blend in. They just like crashed. They have to blend in. But again, it's the same formula. They don't do anything special. They just hang out with Gina Davis, and I think Jeff Goldblum bangs her.
Nice.
So again, they're not doing anything really. But it's not safe. The safe thing is to do the thing we've seen a zillion times. Yeah. But this time with Gerard Butler, or this time with Hugh Jackman or Chris Pratt or whoever. It doesn't matter.
Whoever the hot celebrity is right now.
Yeah.
There's a movie coming out that is Zeus and Hera, I think it's called, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is Zeus.
Are you sure it's a movie? Because
I don't know. I saw a poster for it.
I thought it was a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, it's a Hyundai commercial.
Was it?
Yeah. Hyundai released a new electric car, I believe, and they got Arnold Schwarzenegger to play Zeus. And I believe the through line is he's upset about how they've harnessed electricity.
Oh.
I'm only giving you this information based off of screenshots and the barest bones of understanding.
Okay. I just saw I thought it was an actual movie,
Look for the Hyundai logo next time you see the poster, because I bet if it isn't the Hyundai logo, he's getting into a Hyundai or something.
He's just he's just standing there with whoever.
He's at a
whatever
dealership.
Her name is. That's gonna be Hera. I can't remember who it was, but I guess it's not a real movie. So just kidding.
Yeah, it's like the Energizer.
If it's for the Hyundai Ioniq 5, it's not a car worth buying.
Yeah, if it's for any Hyundai in general, I wouldn't buy it. But that's the thing. I feel like that's also, not to change subjects, but brand loyalty, I feel, has gone the way of the dodo, realistically.
I feel like in today's world, you can't be brand loyal anymore.
Well, you can. It's just stupid. You look like an idiot. Because, let's say back in the 50s, right? Yeah, GM and Ford. You say, oh, well, everything that was an import was crap. And they were legitimately right. They were brands out there that somehow eked by just being shitty, and others that stayed in, whatever. But today, you can buy a car from the shittiest manufacturer, and it'll go for 250,000 miles.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah. So everybody pounding their chest that's got the Chevy bow tie or the Ford Oval or whatever your brand of choice. Everybody who has not drank that Kool-Aid looks at you like you're a fucking idiot, because they're I don't know why as a culture we say, well, if you're really into Ford or Chevy, you're one of these guys. It's yeah, I stand for something. But let's scale that back a little bit, right? Let's say you're a housewife and you've got two toasters on display. One's an Emerson and one's a Westinghouse. If you, for even a second, pretended like either one of those was better than the other, you'd lose all your friends. You would lose every relationship you've ever had because of your steadfast dedication to a Westinghouse toaster.
I need that sunbeam.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, that's not Black & Decker? You piece of shit. And here we are. It goes from everything from the aforementioned toaster all the way up to cars to politicians and beyond. Everything you love is just as good as everything you hate. The thing is, you love the things you love because someone told you to, and you hate the things you hate because someone told you to.
That's like tool guys that are like, oh, you don't have Milwaukee, you're an idiot. I'm like, oh, you only use
what,
DeWalt?
Husky? What a queer, they'll say, because they're from that generation.
No, my tools are red. My tools are yellow.
Yeah, it's so, I get, because I get why they do it. It's fun. Yeah. It is fun to pick a side and be like, I'll get you. Like, picking a side is fun. Lists are fun. I get it.
Dying on a hill is stupid.
Right. Which is actually not even a hill. It's less than a hill. You're like on a barely inclined. Yeah, it's like a, you know, do they have these where you are? So when, I don't know, maybe it was like 20 years ago, speed bumps became like, that's de rigueur. Now we have speed humps. Same height as a speed bump. It's just the width is now 8 feet.
Yeah, I have a few of those around here.
Okay. So yeah, it's like speed bump versus speed hump.
Yeah.
Same fucking thing.
Yeah, just a clever new name.
Yeah, but people were in love with speed humps. Because you could go up
gradual.
And down. Yeah, you go, oh my God, this is so much less abrasive. Meanwhile, it's doing the same thing. It's making your ass slow down.
Right.
But here we are. A dude will hop into, a Ferrari and thumb his nose at a dude in the Ford pickup, with a little rust here or there, a little Bondo. But guess what? If they're both going to the grocery store, they're going to see each other in that parking lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's the same thing with people that are like Apple or Android.
Well, that's different because Android people are way smarter than Apple people. That is completely Apple people. Apple is made for complete idiots. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, you're right. It's and if you can flip it, because you can say, okay, like let's say the Ford Chevy example, they're in the same arena. Like they're both making trucks, they're both making cars, they're both appealing to middle America so they can wave their flag and be like, yeehaw! But not the flip side, but an adjacent cousin of that is the iPhone Android.
Yeah.
Where the iPhone users think that they're haughty. They say, oh, well, we're iPhone. Our whole ecosystem is made by one company.
I have to ship my phone when it breaks to Apple instead of going down the street.
And then you got the Android community that is more DIY. It's more
free market,
more punk rock. Mm-hmm. So you've got the haves and the have-nots. Meanwhile, the haves have exactly what the have-nots have.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about the Google thing?
Which one?
Oh, sorry. Google is accusing Apple of I don't remember the exact terminology they use, but basically bullying people with Androids because of if I were to, I don't know if you have an iPhone or an Android, but I have an Android. So if I text somebody with an iPhone, I am a green bubble.
Right.
As opposed
but
to
not a blue one.
Yeah. And apparently that's an ugly green that is a psychologically thing that makes you think, oh, I'm better than you because I'm blue.
Well, and it worked too, because
it worked really well.
Apple took their shit and they said, you know what? Let's pretend we're better, right?
Yeah.
Android said, oh, we're going to do the same thing, except you have more control over it. Same fucking thing, jackass. But the culture of the company instilled that in them. Whereas Ford and Chevy, neither is a luxury brand.
No.
What they did was the smart thing. They have their, if Apple and Android, whatever, had a nice monopoly like the car industry has, they would have the Android OS that can go on any fucking phone, and then Google would have, like they did, the Pixel, that's high end with its camera. So it's starting to emerge. And the iPhone is now tentatively taking steps into the lower end market with its, whatever, quote unquote, affordable, smaller phones.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really good way to put it, is iPhone's the luxury of cell phones, and they have to make it back to commuter level.
Right. And Ford and Chevy had that built in because Ford owns Lincoln. They are a luxury brand. Yep. Chevy owns Cadillac. So, yeah, each one gets to throw dirt in the other one's face. They don't have this stigma of one throwing up and one throwing down. But the people who like Apple products like that
they like that blue
pedestal.
bubble.
Yeah. They like the blue bubble. They like the bezels. They like having no options. They like how it is given to them, essentially.
Looking exactly the same.
Yeah. And I'm not speaking out of my ass. We switched over to the everything for a while, and I was fucking miserable with it.
It sucked.
If you are over the age of 50, great. If you are in excess of 80 grand a year, cool. If you're anybody else, Android caters to that. Mm-hmm. But then you get the interlopers where someone will save up or whatever. They'll jump ship like I did and either hate it or be swayed, but then you just get to step up or step down. You're still in the same spot.
Well, then you got some people that just generally don't seem to care. Like one generation, they have an Android, the next phone's an iPhone, and they just keep swapping back and forth. They
are the middle America mush heads.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like those people will always sway. There are maybe I shouldn't use the 1 to 10 because that does assign value. But like, let's say that society as a whole is a huge river in between two stony crags. And on one side, you've got Ford and Android and yada, yada, yada. And the other side, you have Chevy and Apple and yada, yada, yada. And all of their diehards make up that stone surface. What they're constantly trying to do is shift themselves in such a way to allow more of these brainless water idiots to flow into their side for however long they can keep them. Mm-hmm. And if you're lucky, you get the dude who goes, yep, I wear the Chevy bow tie. I got Chevy underwear. I got the fucking Calvin pissing on the Ford thing on my Chevy pickup truck. And they become part of the wall.
I've never understood owning apparel for like your car or like if you had a hat that said iPhone. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's just free advertising. Like it's the same. Yeah, the principle working there is the same principle I employ by putting the logo for this show on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I get that.
What I'm hoping will happen is someone will go, oh, what's that? But the thing is, if you're Coke, if you're Pepsi, if you're Ford, if you're Chevy, no one's like, oh, what's that? You
already know.
Well, I've never heard of it. It's like McDonald's and Burger King. Like, advertising is for the mushheads once you are a pillar. Like Coke, Pepsi, boom, boom, pillar on either side of this river that is trying to get them there.
It's more subliminal messaging at that point.
Yeah. It's indoctrination. It's no one is born to love or hate anything.
Yeah.
If you say, I was born a racist, you're wrong. If you say you were born a Chevy fan, you're wrong. If you say you were born a saint, also wrong. You're always wrong because what you did was you were taught and bought in.
Yep.
And that's all you can do.
Kool-Aid.
You can either drink it or you can deny it. You can either stay on Olympus, you can come down and raise a family. You can drink Coke or drink Pepsi. You can drive a Ford, you can drive a Chevy. Ugh. And so we are all forced into tribalism simply because you have to make a choice. You can't stand in the middle of life and just watch it fly by.
Yeah.
You got to get to work. You got to call somebody. You got to eat at a restaurant. If you're an average American, you pick Burger King or McDonald's. And then you shake your ham hock fist and all your greasy fingers out the car window at someone at McDonald's because you went to Burger King. Meanwhile, you're both dying of diabetes.
I'd like to throw Wendy's into the ring.
Right.
Oh, no. wait. I mean, you can if you want, but Wendy's is kind of like the tab of this metaphor.
That's true.
But either way, the same thing. Like, let's say you're a Ford or a Chevy person. There's always that person who will drive up in a Fiat and be like, both of you guys are fucking stupid.
You're both dumbasses.
Yeah. So whether you're suffering from metabolic syndrome from McDonald's, from Burger King, from Wendy's, from Jack in the Box, from Long John's. I don't give a fuck. You're eating garbage.
I don't have those last two around here.
Oh, that's a bummer. I'll send you some. I'll send you some hush puppies, fresh from the sea here in Arizona. Moral of the story is, you are killing yourself for a mascot.
Yeah.
I will never, unless it's like the things that you will see me get interested in and push are rooted in the person doing them. Very seldom, with obvious exception like the Ninja Turtles, they are fake. However, they are still.
No way.
Yeah, believe it or not, there are no turtles in New York. I mean, mutated ones. No, I mean anthropomorphic ones.
Right.
There might be mutated turtles. There might be turtles. Cannot confirm nor deny. But the point of it all is like, I'm not going to sign on to something because I like the look of Tony the Tiger, because the crispy Rice Krispie elves or whatever. If you're standing up to do verbal or physical battle with someone over a pop culture thing, you're not a human, right? Like if some executive gets to sit on his ass on a leather chair in $1,000 suit while you are holding a big gulp half full of Mountain Dew that you're about to splash in someone's face because they think Black Widow is better than Hawkeye, you're a fucking dirt belly. I mean, if you take it seriously, obviously it's fun to be like, what if? But if even for a second you feel like this is a legitimate grievance, you're lost.
Yeah, you've lost the plot.
Yeah, if anybody says, and it was so funny to me, as like one of these references, like when Vanilla Coke came out, right?
Yeah.
I was in high school and I was still drinking soda, a shit ton of it, and I fucking loved Vanilla Coke.
Vanilla Coke was good.
Yeah. And then I even like Coke with lemon. But obviously it's me. But the moral of that story is like, it was so divisive that if I'd say, talking to someone, I'd say, oh, have you tried the new Coke with vanilla? It was always one of two things. It was the Olympus answer, which is, oh man, it's great and I love it and it's spectacular. Or it's the living at home with two kids and it's like, that fucking sucks. I never got I can take it or leave it.
Yeah, it's never just okay.
Yeah, because you're not a good consumer. You're not a responsible citizen unless you've planted your flag in someone else's dirt hill. And also, you also pay them to keep your flag there, and you also wear their merch, and you pay them more to buy their other stuff. Yeah. So all of these righteous fighters who were like, it's DC. No, it's Marvel. You're both wrong. It's neither.
They don't give a shit about you.
They give a fuck. As long as the money keeps flowing, they don't give a fuck who or how or why or when. So you can stand on your little soapbox. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying not to do this because, again, it is fun. I think going over whether Mr. Miyagi would win in a fight with Splinter is fun. But at the end, I'll go, all right, donezo, and it's wiped from my memory. I'm not going to lay awake at night.
It's not worth getting real feelings over.
Yeah. Like, because let's say Sensei Emmett, he says, oh, I think Mr. Miyagi. And I go, no, are you fucking kidding? It's Splinter. And then, thanks for listening, everybody. Click. And then I lay my head on the pillow at night and my eyes just shoot open. I think, no, he's totally wrong. It's not the way to live. But there are people like that. So what do you do? Being in the middle is not popular, but it's way easier. Holy fuck. If you don't have brand loyalty, the most you'll get is a half-hearted, really? Out of most people.
Yeah.
Like if someone says, oh, what do you like? Because everybody gone through this in high school. Friends come up. They need you to settle a debate where they say, which is better, X or Y? And if you go, they're both pretty good, they go, bah, and they leave you the fuck alone. But if you say X, then the Y person hates your fucking guts and the rest of your day is ruined. Same thing with the Y person. If you choose Y, the X, vice versa. If you say, hey, they're both good, they go, ugh, and they leave you the fuck alone. And you don't have to be one of those mush heads that's like, I mean, because that's the thing, right? we on the outside are all self-aware enough to see the guy wearing the Chevy hat and the Chevy members only jacket that says Heartbeat of America, and they got the Camaro shirt and the commemorative Chevy pants. We all look at that person and see a clown.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I do see a very enthusiastic individual, but I see a caricature of a human being.
Yep.
So that's where we are. We're stuck between, the blues and the grays. You got to pick one. But if you don't, then what? Here's the thing. Each side will tell you that if you don't make a decision, something terrible will happen. Everyone in the middle who hasn't made a decision yet goes, what? And I go,
Yeah.
Checkmate.
Nobody has an answer for you.
Yikes. Well, yeah. And if you're maybe there's 4 types of people. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, probably 4. So you got the pillar on the left and the right of the river, right? Or the bank. Mm-hmm. Rock bank right, Coke. Rock bank left, Pepsi. The water, everybody who is easily swayed, who doesn't bother taking anything into account on their own. They just take what they're fed. Then you got a few people in canoes on that river who move about as they please.
Yeah.
But, that's where the minority is. The people it's like crossing the river Styx. It's fun in the boat. You get to hang out with Charon, and he's pushing the thing with the stick, and you go, oh, well, this is all la-di-da. What you don't want to be is one of those wailing assholes under the boat, constantly gnashing and trying to reach up and get your fucking shit kicked in by Charon, because he's, not into that. You want to be in the middle, but it's an unpopular place to be.
No, I would agree with you.
And that's where I'm always at, because I'm always in the middle. Like when the zombie movie thing, I got to the middle and I go, okay, this side's okay, that side's okay. Can we be over now? No. Sometimes that river just takes you along with it, and there's not a lot you can do. Because where you do have agency as the man in the canoe in the river, you're still going with the river, and if you're stuck in a place with a bunch of shitty scenery and a bunch of hackneyed shit and a bunch of zombie shit, then that's your scenery. You just got to sit there and wade through it. Sadly, time will not respond to my paddling. Anywho, oh boy, Randy, it's been a long one, right? So let's start wrapping it up.
All right.
And you know how we like to do it. Round of staff recommendations. What do you have to recommend for our listeners this episode?
So I've recently started replaying Red Dead Redemption 2.
I tried, man. But
replaying it or just playing it in general?
No, I played it and beat it. I tried starting it over, and not to step on your recommendation, but here's my problem.
You already know what happens?
Not only that, but the problem is with these huge story-driven games, the first 3 hours are basically a walking simulator of exposition, and it is a teeth-pulling grind.
Especially the 20 minutes of time I get every 3 days. Took me a little while to get out of that, but
right. That's what happened to me. I got the kid, tried playing through Red Dead. It took 4 days to get through the opening cutscene, and by then I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, well, I wanted to, but I knew I had another 17 days of expositional bullshit before I was let loose in the open world.
Yeah, I have just gotten past that, and it's been quite nice to just kind of roam around and not worry about the story and explore.
I'm in that world where I like the games that are very, like Red Dead, where it's story rich or whatever.
Yeah,
and since it has so many mechanics, I'll throw another game in with this, or a series of games like the Batman Arkham quadrilogy and or trilogy, depending on how you want to canonicalize it.
Yeah.
It is seriously, the first 6 hours are, this is how you walk, this is how you run, this is a utility belt, here's your gun, whatever game. So you spend the first 6 hours of playing it again, going through the shit you are desperately trying to get away from.
Yeah.
I would love for either Rockstar or any one of those companies to be like, hey, you want to start again and cut past all the fucking bullshit you know how to do? Yes.
Hit Y to skip.
Either that or you're constantly playing a save state that's 98% done that you don't want to finish because then you're like, well, it's done.
Yeah, then you got nothing left to do.
So what are you recommending? Not playing through it again?
No, I'll recommend playing through it again. I haven't played any missions. I just like dealing with the stranger interactions right now.
Yeah.
I'll get a little further a little bit later on, but I've only played maybe like 3 hours total. So
I would love to, because I'd love to kick around ideas like that where, like, say, you get Red Dead Redemption 2 just without the through line of the narrative, and you've got an open world to be a cowboy in with, whatever small side plots that'll keep you diverted. But the problem with that is you get something like No Man's Sky, which sucked.
yeah, I couldn't get into that game at all. Well, that game would benefit from having like a 3-hour epilogue on how to actually play it.
Yeah, but like that's the thing too. It's like you want that happy medium between like total linear, like Gears of War, boom, boom, boom. There's no sense in exploring even because you got to get to the end.
Let me go.
Yeah, and the Minecraft idea of gameplay where there's nothing to do except whatever the fuck you want.
Couldn't get into that game either.
I did, but it's only because it brought back memories of Lego and other like model building.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
It has to either be as rudimentary as Minecraft, where it is literally a sandbox with just a bunch of blocks, or it has to have that tailored, tutorialized, through the nose style thing. Because if you don't play either just right, you do get a No Man's Sky, or you do get any number one of these Skinner boxes where you go, oh fuck.
I have an associate that works in my store who has collectively, over the course of however long he's been playing it, has played about 80 days worth of Minecraft.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's built some impressive stuff, but that's still a long time in a video game.
But that's what it does to you. You need to have bare bones and that's it too. There's something ethereal. Like the other show I do with all the bad movies I watch. It's almost impossible to define the mysterious Deus Ex Machina, like God's hand that comes in and makes something really stick, or the same concept with 1 degree of latitude change and now it's complete dog shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's I think my gut tells me it has something to do with the author behind it. If it's made for the sake of the concept versus someone who wants to do something, I don't know. Maybe there's something genuine about one and not the other. Who's to say? I am not smart enough to really crack into that. But I guess what I can't, I'll recommend the other show since I brought it up. If you like, it's mostly shaking out to be bad movies, but if you like bad movies, the other show I'm on is Raiders of the Lost Genre on YouTube. I thought it would be because when the idea was pitched to me by Scott, who's been on this show, he's like, we're going to watch movies where it's like a lost land. I go, how many of those are there? Turns out, spoiler alert, a fuck ton. And then I thought, how good could they all be?
Too many.
Yeah, and it also, by and large, not good. With caveats here and there, but that's the thing too. It's like the center of the earth was at one time its day of zombie. So we got 1 billion of them. I'm slowly munching my way through that giant donut. So yeah, if you like that, watch that. Raiders of the Lost Genre on YouTube. Chris, do you want to recommend anything?
I downloaded this game that Instagram told me to download called Coffee Stack. It's stupid. It's like Temple Run, like a thing where enjoy
you
got
those.
a hand and you're chasing coffee and you can build things and then you build a cafe.
Yeah, those type of games are like mobile gaming as a whole is dying, and it's because of those churn out games that it's going. So enjoy it while you can, because 9 times out of 10 they don't last long.
Oh, it won't last long on my phone because I go through games and there's too many ads. There's like every level you get at least a 15-second ad in between, and I'm like, oh my god.
That's the problem with mobile games now, is the amount of ads you get. You get 2 minutes of play and then 5 minutes of ads.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a million of them out there, but there's a short documentary about the rise and fall of mobile gaming. And that's basically it. It went from a legitimate platform for artists to like, oh, wait, this is actually just a casino now.
Right.
It's like if you were walking into a cherished childhood playground and over time it slowly turned into the Luxor and you're like, hey, wasn't that a slide? And it's like a craps table. And you're like, wasn't that a swing set? It's just like a row of one-armed bandits or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still games like Auto Chess. There's no ads in Auto Chess. Like, there's no commercial breaks.
No.
But you still pay money.
Nothing has died wholly, but it's been saturated with clickbait, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. But yeah, that's the way it goes. Live it up while you can until it gets too annoying, which happens quicker and quicker all the time. I almost have no games on my phone anymore.
Yeah,
I don't have any on mine.
Oh, here, I'll recommend this. The Bonfire 2 is an excellent mobile game. However, I'm going to give you this warning. It's not finished yet. So if you're like my dumbass and buy it for $4, thinking it's a finished game, when you get to the third of it that's actually finished, you're going to be pissed at the end. Holy fuck, was I irritated. And not only that, okay, side tangent real quick. It did me like the shareware games did, like Doom and Hexen and Heretic and yada, 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 where you get the fucking free sample that's the first third of the game, and it's awesome. And then you buy the second 2/3. These motherfuckers made me pay for the first third, and the 2/3 after it don't fucking exist.
Do you get them for free after?
I fucking hope so, because I got to the end. It's like, okay, yeah, well, you open up all these lands, there's all this gray area and this fog of war, and inside of it, you can see all these islands because you're on an island yourself, and you go and conquest and yada, yada, yada. And after the first boss, it goes, hey, thanks for putting in collectively 8 days of your time. We'll call you when it's finished. And I was like, bitch, I bought this game 2 years ago. Early access, you motherfuckers. What's that, Shredder's Revenge or whatever? Fuck you. Anyway, guys, if you want to get in contact with me, and why wouldn't you after that? fistfulpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter. I'm probably going to phase out Facebook because Facebook is pretty old and lame. And, it's not working anymore. So, probably not that. I guess that's it. Anything else, Randy, before we shut it down?
No, I'm good.
All right, well, I always like to offer because sometimes, it hasn't happened yet, but I feel like one time somebody might say, actually.
Next time I'll get you with something.
Yeah, but until to date, chain unbroken. No one wants to keep me talking. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time on an episode of FFOP Radio, and I am Dave.
I'm Krista.
I'm Randy.
Saying we'll catch you on the next one. Bros, do you even wordle?
Or they try to
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.